Hi everybody, this is Baldric. I am one of the lead devs and creators of Drehmal, and this is our January 2022 Q&A. I'm being joined today by Dome Master, our lead dev.
Howdy, I'm a lead dev on Drehmal as of a couple months ago. I'm the
Yeah.
new guy. It's been so much fun so far, and we're gonna talk all about the upcoming update that
hmm
we've been working on. And it may seem like it's taking a long time, but I promise we are working very hard on it. And the star of the show, the world painter boss, this is Kiko 100, who recently had his birthday just yesterday.
Just yesterday. Happy birthday, Kiko.
That was yesterday. Yeah,
hmm
I am now older, and
You're ancient now.
I'm an ancient being. It's quite tragic.
Yep. Yeah, Kiko
All
here's
right.
my partner in
So
crime, and yeah, we've been doing this for about 6 years, and we're very happy to be here with the Dome Master. And I guess we'll just jump into the first question. Got anything else to say, guys?
That's
Nope.
that's about it. We'll just sort of take turns reading these questions, answering them, maybe having a little discussion, and hopefully this should be
Awesome.
interesting for you
Okay,
guys.
cool.
Oh,
So,
oh, and just to mention, all these questions are from the community.
mhm.
If you aren't, if you're seeing this on YouTube, take a look. We'll have a link down for our Discord server. This is where all of our announcements come up. We also have a Twitter page, and you can learn about when 2.2 Apotheosis updates coming out. We're really excited about it.
Yeah,
That's about it.
cool. All right, so our first batch of questions here is be coming from our lovely patrons. And yeah, first question here is from Gaz. So when it comes to Jamal's open customization options, have you guys thought of incorporating more diversity than just the three pairs of boots?
So, this is a great opportunity to introduce like a pretty big change for making with 2.2. And that's just the removal of class boots. We've mentioned this in the Discord a couple times, but obviously not everyone reads the Discord super diligently. Uh, with the other systems we've introduced in 2.2, the artifacts, the new relics of the devotion system, the artisan items, those kind of fulfill the role that that class boots already had. So just like that sort of build diversity, and I feel like it's a better system. So class boots are just being deprecated,
They're going away.
Yep, no
going
more
away.
class boots.
Um, so
Hmm.
our next question is this. Is Thressa a crystal bitch or a wine mom? And this is from Hiscotti Biscotti.
She's a plant lesbian. Next question is also from Hiscotti, um, which is where did Jack Beenan come from? Um, so we have a friend. His name isn't Jack Beenan, but we just continuously reference him through the maps, like the modern houses, like the crash car, the Jack Beenan,
uh,
Jack's Corner.
Jack's Corner, yeah.
So there's like, I know I can think of like at least one other 2.2 reference to him off the top of my head. So
Yeah, Jack actually made Jack's Corner during
he did.
development when we made the mistake of letting him on the server.
Indeed, yeah.
Yep. All right, next question is from Slypador. How's Dome doing?
That's a very good question. Well, I'm going to be starting my next term of law school soon. Um, have some trepidation about it, but I'm excited to see what my new classes are going to bring me. And I'm having so much fun working on 2.2 right now. I've been like really grinding over my break, and I came up with some cool stuff, and I'm excited to share it. Lots of good lore.
So much
So you
good
guys
lore.
can look forward to that.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh.
So our next question is also from Slypador. Will 2.2 be on 1.17 or 1.18? And this has been a hot button issue we've been
hmm
talking about recently.
So yeah, hot button issue. Uh, there's a lot of we're gonna have it on 1.17 most likely. We would love to have on 1.18. So Realms players can play, and there's just less technical hurdles and just be easy to play. But there are just some um, limitations at the moment that are preventing us from updating to 1.18. But we're actively investigating solutions, but those might not come before release.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.2
Hopefully.
is like so ambitious. So like some of these technical things, we can't talk about them yet because they're part of things we haven't revealed yet. But it's a good reason. You can trust us that it is.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hope is
Sorry to cut
that
you off.
yeah, it's okay. If 2.2 doesn't come on 1.18, the hope is that 2.3 will.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or during the beta cycle.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Or even a little sub patch maybe.
Mhm.
Like we'll make sure that it happens. We'll get it on 1.18 as soon as we possibly can. It is a priority.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. This next question is from the gamer. I'm not sure if that's their Discord name, but I guess they put it as the gamer.
Yep.
To me, it is unclear if a few new places can/should be classified as an actual town/city. Would you count Tehrun Monastery, Solvay, then Salmic-looking mountain settlement, Temple of Drehua, Kilna Virtua, Burnt Palace, Zarha, and the strange town in Mao's Desolation as town/cities? Perhaps a smaller sort of classification without all the features?
So yeah, with 2.2, we've introduced the concept of settlements, which are notably different from towns. Settlements won't feature unique music, they don't have the adventuring merchants that Kiko showed off a couple months ago, and they're a lot smaller. We showed off Solvay a while ago in a spoiler image, and a lot of people thought that was a Drehmal overhaul. Solvay is one of these new settlements, and they really make the world feel a lot more alive and populated. And I'm not sure how many have been added to 2.2, but there's a pretty solid amount of them.
Yeah. They're all over the overworld. Well, all over is a bit of an exaggeration, but they're certainly dotted around.
Yeah.
And you can look forward to them in addition to many new ruins.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really help make the world feel more alive, but still give that desolate vibe Drehmal has.
Yeah.
I think we've reached a very nice balance with that.
It's really, really nice. I think you guys will really enjoy seeing these settlements and exploring them and just experiencing the atmosphere they generate. It's really, really cool. Alright, next question here, again from the gamer. Are we getting any more terrain revamps, like the redone in Near Coast? And yeah, so Nate has been doing a lot of these terrain revamps. Like, he was entirely in charge of the Near Coast. That is all Nate. So I'm joined here by him.
Hello, I am Nader the Gator. I've been doing a lot of the world edit work and other terrain features throughout the map. The Near Coast, as you've seen, is one of them. There's a lot more hidden than what you can just see in that picture. Only one other thing I will let you know about is that the sand there is pink now, but there's definitely a lot more secrets to find in Anier's Coast. And then a few other locations, notable locations that I'd be willing to spoil. Off by Highfall, there is a big valley which I've completely revamped. It's now a miniature desert, similar kind of to the Anier Desert, except cold, lots of snow, very little cactus, very little plants, and very little survival. Not a lot of cultures would have survived there. Other features that I've been doing is mostly just touching up just small areas that seemed unfinished, such as that valley. And I've also been doing a lot of, I guess you could say, hydro work.
Yeah, the
Basically
hydro stuff is really, really cool.
Yeah, just
Like-
adding little waterfalls and streams wherever there were already nooks and crannies that are just basically dried beforehand from World Painter. And one great example of a place that I've done that is Kasai. Kasai is now filled with meltwater streams from all of the snow. Plenty of waterfalls, plenty of streams going downhill that you can follow that all lead to a lake or an ocean. And it's going to be filling not just Kasai, but pretty much all of Drehmal.
Yeah, it's a lot of really, really cool fine detail work that Kiko couldn't really get to with World Painter. And so Nate's big task, like, basically since joining the dev team, has been doing all this hydro work and adding all these creeks and streams in that just add so much detail to the terrain. It's really amazing.
And also, notably, I should mention Tetra and Dome has helped a lot with me too in just getting like these details polished, especially Tetra. Me and Tetra have been going around fixing trees that look messed up, or just changing boulders, like changing the textures of boulders to be a different block entirely. Say you're in a place that is all black stone or red sandstone. Instead of a normal stone boulder, I will make it a black stone boulder. All those kind of little details and stuff, just to help flesh out the world and make every place feel unique.
Awesome, cool. You got anything more to say on that, Nate?
Nope. I think that's
Cool.
good.
Thank you, Nate, for joining us. And yeah, look forward to seeing some of Nate's work here in 2.2 when we release it.
So will we? The next question is, so will we get a Temple of Lie to follow the Temple of Lo that was leaked almost a year ago, and that was also from the gamer. It may have actually been a year now since that was leaked. Hilariously
I
enough.
think it has, yeah.
It's been over a year. Yes, there will be a Temple of Life.
Yep.
But it's funny because 2.2 has been in development long enough where I'm not really sure what's in 2.2 anymore. I'll see like a random structure and be like, is that in 2.1? But yeah,
Yeah.
but yes, there will be Temple of Life.
All right, and our next question is from Kama. Will every deity get some sort of temple and offering system? This is referring to the devotion system.
The three main deities will, but not all the aspects.
Next question here is from Dodger. What is your vision for Drehmal? How do you want / expect people to play it?
Ultimately, our vision for Drehmal is a survival / adventure map that focuses on exploration and discovery. Every facet of Drehmal, every mechanic, structure, weapon, biome, etc., all contribute to that idea. We're starting to build a lot of major projects around the idea of eureka moments. Basically, there's this big reveal that makes your jaw drop and say, "Holy shit!" And that's not just through cool builds; it's also through like puzzles and just different mechanics and cool animations. Like I think the ending of the map is a great example of that. And
Oh
like
yeah.
it's like the idea of like something clicks in your head and whatever you're witnessing suddenly all makes sense. We expect people to play this with a small group of friends and make those eureka moments even better. It's nice seeing cool shit with all your buddies around you, but playing solo is still awesome.
I'd even say that playing solo is a much more enjoyable experience in 2.2 than it was in 2.1. But even with that being said, playing with a small group of friends, in my opinion, is the best way to experience Drehmal.
Right. And thinking about my vision particularly, if I were to condense it down into one sentence, I would say that 2.2 is like all the good parts of vanilla Minecraft, but it's set in a vibrant fantasy world, and it will have an engaging story that encourages discovery and features which allow the player to feel smart. And so that's coming back to sort of the eureka moments thing Kika was talking about. We want the players to feel empowered. And also to say a word about the groups versus individual players, we're specifically designing from 1 to 8 players as our target range for 2.2. Our next question is from Dodger as well. How do you intend to make Drehmal a sustainable and replayable map?
I think sustainability is the wrong word here because to me, sustainable conjures images of unhealthy engagement, and I'm sure you can think of games which follow that model. Ultimately, Drehmal is a single-player / small-scale multiplayer survival adventure map, as we've just mentioned in the previous question. But people should be incentivized to replay it just because they want to. Their reasons could be many things. They could just be trying a new play style, it could be speedrunning, sequence breaking, anything like that. My favorite things to do in games like Dark Souls is run through late game areas to get some ultra powerful weapon, which you can really easily do in Drehmal, and also just replaying through it to see things you missed. Oh, and of course, just post 2.2 updates. Just very natural reasons to replay the map.
Yeah, we're not done.
Yeah.
No.
On the point of being able to acquire powerful weapons like that early, I'll never forget when Kiko and I were running 2.0 for a group of close friends of ours, and one of them just made a beeline straight for the Hellcrags, and within 6 hours of having our server for them up, he had already acquired Malevolentia.
This man
Not
didn't even
that
have
the
a bow.
Didn't even have a bow, did
Yeah.
all in iron armor. God.
I will say that the Burnt General in 2.1 is not the most difficult challenge, but of course the Hellcrags are always a lot of fun
So many casts.
to just get through. Yeah.
Well, this is 2.0. There's no Burnt General, but everything did two-shot you, so...
That's true.
Yeah. Next question is, will you create a new and updated lore guide to ease new players without any experience in? And that question is from Leo.
That's a really good question. So, we are going to definitely make some updates to the original brief lore guide, but I think that with 2.2, the story should be a lot clearer to players. We're making a lot of improvements to the general main quest line, for sure. It should be a lot easier to follow. And so, for that reason, we'd like the community to spearhead filling in those gaps.
God.
Yeah, you can thank my my old clunker for that one.
Yeah. So yeah, lore guide will definitely get an update. I think it's important that it needs something a bit, just because that is a very nice condensed resource to have. But like Dome said, in general, it'll be much easier to gain a feel for the world and the lore in the game rather than through this external document.
There's
Though
gonna be
to,
so much more lore, you guys.
Oh man, it's amazing.
though to be clear, it's like most of it is still not told to you directly.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah,
very like vague and you gotta piece things together. But a lot more of it is in game, even like way more than what was in like even 2.1, for example.
Mhm.
And it's
Oh,
told
so-
through more means than just like lore books and stuff.
Something else I wanted to briefly mention is that like not all the lore that was in 2.1 is still going to be canon in 2.2. We're definitely doing some retcons. But what I want to promise you is that the retcons that we're doing now, we're kind of setting the stage for future updates. So you shouldn't expect that pattern to continue in future updates.
Yeah.
2.2, we're changing a lot of stuff, but in 2.3, 2.4, beyond, things should remain pretty consistent from then on out.
Yeah, and even with all of our changes, they're all very, very good changes that I think just make the lore much higher quality than it has been, and just make things so much better.
Yeah, we're biased, of course, but
Oh
yeah.
yeah. All right, so that is the end of our questions from our lovely patrons. We love you guys, and thank you so much for your support. Like, without you guys, we wouldn't be able to be doing the soundtrack that Chris is doing for us. We wouldn't be able to, be commissioning some of this artwork we plan on using later. There's just so many things that having a steady source of income for us to pump back to the map is allowing us to do. It's really amazing. We can't thank you guys enough. So
Yep.
all the questions from here out are going to be just questions from the general community. And first one here is from ONB. What was the inspiration behind Drehmal? Was it video game inspired, story/book inspired?
So this is a question that perhaps could better be answered by Kiko and Baldric, just because they've been involved in this process from the beginning. But I do want to mention that there are a lot of perspectives that are going into the project today. We have over 14 dev members. I think we up to like 15, 16 now?
Something like that,
This
yeah.
is embarrassing.
We got
have
a lot of
some
people in here.
who come in and out. But in any case, all the people who work on this project have their own inspirations, and that those have influenced the design process in so many different ways. Now that said, a lot of us do share some common interests. Some of the most significant inspirations for us, lead devs specifically, are from certain video games like Destiny, Outer Wilds, and the Souls series, for sure.
Yeah, for me and Kiko, everything really changed in the summer of 2016 when Kiko and a friend played through Bloodborne for the very first time.
Yeah, Bloodborne at that time showed me that video games could be art, and it just got me super invested in game design, and I started obsessing over all of them from Software's games, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Sekiro. I eventually got Baldric to play Dark Souls 3.
Yeah. We'd already started thinking about the world of Drehmal at this point, and playing through the Souls games had completely changed our perspectives on game and world design. And since then, we've played through every Souls game and still draw a lot of inspiration from them.
And as for Destiny, because you might hear that and it'd be a little like, Destiny? Really? That's an inspiration? We've played Destiny for a very long time now, and it's just influenced us a lot of ways. Our main inspirations are from its just insane art direction and super cool lore. The amount of passion and creativity behind that universe is nuts. It's an incredible source of inspiration.
I have to agree because I've started playing Destiny recently. Just a little bit, but it's so cool. And yeah, it's I could just see the inspiration that Bald and Kiko have been taking from it for years, and that's not copying. It's just, I mean, they just seeing the visuals there, like, sort of took me to another world. There was like one experience I can think of particularly that in the Dreaming City where I went to recently, I just had to like stand there, like mouth agape for a couple of seconds. So like, yeah, I definitely see where they're coming from. Let me get on to our next question here, because we've spent a little bit of discussion on that. It's also from O and B. Do you think the inspiration behind Drehmal would look at it and say, this is cool?
Yeah, I really hope so. I think we draw the most inspiration from Dark Souls and Hidetaka Miyazaki's design philosophies. Dark Souls is just really masterful in the uniqueness of its world and how it tells its story. Kiko and I developed a passion for this sort of design and writing, and I feel like we've managed to very effectively capture and understand some of Miyazaki's story and world design philosophies, and effectively apply them into Drehmal.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, just there's Elden Ring coming out soon, which is the whole Miyazaki and like the Dark Souls developers take on an open world. And as just more information comes out, it's just more and more like this is just Drehmal. This is the idea for the original Primordial game. So like in a lot of ways, we've weirdly reached the same conclusions about open world design and that sort of thing. It's cool to see.
Yeah, definitely. We just gotta hope that it doesn't suck at this point. It's not going to
It's
suck.
not gonna suck.
But all right. Next question, also O and B. How long in total do you think everyone on this project has worked on it in hours?
This is really hard to answer, but probably 3,000 to 4,000 hours. Just because if you count like 2.0 and 2.1 development, then I'm probably like 30 to 40% of that. Probably closer to 30% now, because Dome's putting in a ton of work. Just other builders have been putting in a lot of hours. But yeah, there's a lot of time invested in this project.
Mhm.
This next question is from Cracker. Will we see more lore about Red Dawn and Ebonfire?
Yes, lots more lore about both of those things. If you're a patron, you can actually read a bit of alchemy lore that was posted a couple months ago, I think, and that gives a little bit of insight into what you might see from some new Red Dawn stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. Next question here is from HJD. If a player loses devotion, will their relics be revoked? And this is in reference to the relic system that we detailed last month.
Nope. The way relics work is that they're actually just a static item, so upgrading them just gives you a new version of that item. It's the easiest way to do it, and yeah. So
Yep.
you will not lose your relic if you lose devotion.
And then next question here, also from HDD, and also in reference to the relic system, or relic/devotion system. Can you only give items once? If not, will there be a limit at all?
There will not be a limit on items. If you really wanted, you could just give Drehmal 100 saplings to rake him up once. Of course, that won't be as efficient, and it's still something we need to balance.
Yeah, definitely. And also just to sort of add one little thing, one of the reasons behind the devotion system is to sort of give more of a use for all of the little structures around Drehmal, which contain loot that sometimes doesn't feel all that useful. But with 2.2's devotion system, there now is going to be a use for that, and that is the devotion, and increasing devotion with aspect. So if we balance this right, hopefully going to those structures will feel more rewarding. That was one of our priorities. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll work out nicely.
So moving on to our next question, also by HJD. It seems like this one was sort of in media res, so I'll do my best. Adventure mode around altars, around the whole building, and I believe this also has to do with the devotion system.
Yeah. Now, players destroying altars isn't a concern. Will they want to use adventure mode in areas where it's absolutely necessary for specific gameplay experiences, kind of like the Resident Halls?
Yeah, and the area needs to have like a mechanic or something to justify being adventure mode, because adventure mode's pretty boring unless you specifically design the area around it, and like these don't. Like if someone destroys the altar, like the particles will still be there, and I don't know.
Yeah.
We're still kind of figuring it out, but yeah.
The altar will still be
It should
usable.
still be functional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if a player decides to destroy it, more power to them, go ahead.
Next question is from Solar Plasma. Will the map see the addition of more landmasses or islands at any point to better vary the experience of those who have played multiple times? Or is them all seen more as a one-time playthrough endeavor?
So I know Kiko mentioned this a little bit before, that hopefully 2.2 will have enough content that multiple playthroughs or, long periods of time in one playthrough, both will feel really fulfilling and you'll want to play it again. However, we try to keep the community and their feedback in mind at all times, and we want each of our updates from now on to have enough features to once again warrant an entirely new playthrough by our dedicated community. So all that said, we've heard your feedback. We might consider adding new land masses at some point in the future in order to keep things fresh. That's all
Yep.
I'll say.
Yep.
Okay, next is a question from Khive, one of our moderators. Thank you very much to all of our moderators who have just kept this community running in many, many different ways. Will 2.2 introduce merchants or another way to obtain things introduced in recent Minecraft, such as Deep Slate or Moss?
Yep, there will be new merchants. We're changing like the block composition of cliffs and different like holes in the ground. I think a good example of that is like there's these quarries around the map which have iron and coal inside of them, and they're just exposed to the surface. What I actually did this earlier today, where I changed one of them to be granite and copper. Of course, granite is already a block you can get, but you can imagine it like deep slate and iron or tough and iron, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
This next question is also from Kai. Will leveling devotion be a long-term difficult process of trial and error using rare items?
So if we do our jobs, determining deity and aspect preferences should hopefully be pretty intuitive. We'll hopefully have some environmental hints about in many cases, and we may also provide some more explicit hints in lore books.
It does kind of, I mean, this system is still like pretty obviously early on, and is something that's very difficult to test. I do foresee there being a lot of balancing that would need to happen in the beta, but it'll end up being good, I promise.
Yeah, I can very much see a sort of the thing I almost want to avoid with the system is a Stardew Valley situation of you just go to the wiki to find the likes and dislikes. I want to have it be where players don't feel like they're forced to look up the answer and go to the wiki to figure out what these aspects like and dislike and what they should give them, what they shouldn't.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Yeah, like if our players are like the whole time when they're playing Drehmal, if they are completely focused and able to just enjoy playing the game without needing to go to some third-party site or anything like that, I think at that point we'll have done our jobs. We won't get there. We won't be there right away, probably, but we'll get there. And next we've got a question from Sam. Do you guys plan on making more custom NPCs in the future, or redoing the villager textures to make them fit the stories in game more? I think something like how Minecraft Comes Alive turns the villagers into custom player models, for example. Smiley face.
Yeah. So we have actually changed the villager model in the 2.2 resource pack to look more like Dramari than villagers, and that small change has really made villages feel a lot more immersive to this world. You know, instead of just having a normal like Minecraft thing there, it now feels much more unique to Drehmal. I think it's a really, really, really nice change.
Yeah, I've noticed like a couple people saying like it does look weird, and it just not also uncanny. And I think that is a valid concern, but I do think people will get used to it. And there'll also be like more variation and stuff, and the proportions are tweaked slightly to be more player accurate because villagers are weirdly bulky. So it goes beyond just changing the head model.
All right, next question is from So Much Lag. Will the Nether be more interesting in 2.2 with custom biome structures, etc.? I think it would be cool to have a Drehmal themed Nether. Thanks for the great work, and look forward to seeing more of the update. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. But you'll no longer need to go to the Nether to get stuff like Crimson Wood, Blackstone, or, I mean, more importantly, Netherite. And as such, we'll just be blocking Nether access. So, like, you would go in a portal, you would be teleported to a room that says, you're not allowed in here. Something like that, and we'd say, like, Nether is off limits in the, like, spawn room information.
Yep. And there should be sufficient content to like justify that. There'll be you'll be able to get all the stuff in the Nether, and we'll have we'll have some in-world reason about like
Mhm.
why it's all there, and we've thought about all this.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yes.
the Nether will no longer be part of the map.
So, next question is from Aeon. How long do you plan on updating Drehmal for?
I'm going to give a snarky answer quickly until it's done. Um, as developers, our goal is to make a finished game. And we want to do a couple things. We want to make Drehmal fit. First of all, bring all the features up to our preferred level of quality, which is higher than 2.1 for sure. We've added a lot of fancy new additions. We also want to bring the map up to the lore that we've created for the world. We want to make Drehmal as it was intended by Bald and Kiko, and as intended by the dev team as we've sort of worked through the lore a little more. We want this world to completely come alive, and it's gonna take us some number of updates to do that. But we're not gonna stop until we're satisfied that we've done that we've fulfilled that goal.
Yeah. I personally am a really big proponent of doing an eventual Bedrock port, and I feel like that's the best way to bring Jamal to a much wider audience and like really truly make our names within the greater Minecraft community. Like I'm seeing ourselves in a number of years being presented at Minecraft Live, like some Bedrock creators were this past year. So
That
yeah,
would be
you
cool.
guys can definitely expect to be hearing from us for at least the next couple of years. We're not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, and I'm sure those of you that read the Christmas blog post from me, Kiko, um, yeah, there are plans, there are long-term plans for Drehmal, even beyond just the Minecraft map.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Next question here is from DeWolf. I'm a bit worried about the new relic system and that it will be quickly exhausted. How many items will have to be given to get the relics and upgrades? Have you considered making level scale so the top tier items require far more points than the low tiers?
this is a really challenging question, as kind of touched on earlier. It's just going to be it's going to be really difficult to balance, and we're going to rely on the beta, get a good sense of that. The goal is like we don't want to be super grindy, or like just require very little grinding. It shouldn't be quickly exhausted because players will be finding new devotion shrines as they play. The amount of items will vary depending on what items you give. You won't have the level scale or have different point tiers unless we find it to be necessary. So like at the moment, um, yeah, we'll just again still figuring some stuff out, but I really don't want it to be a grindy mess. I want players to just be able to kind of upgrade them as they go without really like. I mean, they should specifically look out for those materials to make them more valuable, but they shouldn't have to go super out of their way to get those materials. Next question, again from DeWolf. How does your team split up the work and how does the development process go along?
So I'll answer this since it's something I think a lot about as perhaps the de facto project manager of the team. I try to do everything that I can to keep all the devs productive, inspired, and satisfied with their work on Dremel, because different people work best in different ways, and I make it a very important priority to discover those ways. So for those who work well in groups, we have currently we have 2 weekly build nights. And for those better at working alone, I also set them different goals to meet. And ultimately, what I'd say is that the most important part of effective development for a serious project like this is communication. Everyone needs to know when to work on a new project, when to call project finished, who to come up with any questions or concerns. And I'd say we've finally gotten this down to a science. Well, that's very confident, but at least we've now been working pretty consistently for like good 5.5 months without any major breaks. So I would say that we are making solid progress. I know that the spoiler images only show so much, but the dev team is hard at work, and I can say that with some confidence.
Yeah, we're like, I mean, obviously this is a volunteer project. not all of us are like being a super dedicated, and that's completely fine because like we're doing this for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'd say like 3 of us and a couple others have been pretty active and just constantly working on it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Our next question's from Hi Snake. My main question is this. While I understand that these may create some competition for which item takes the offhand slot, will the benefits really be big enough to warrant losing the shield, which not only provides stat boosts but can also block projectiles? And this is in reference to the relics from the devotion system.
Yeah, I think it does depend. I think the early relics that you get, the initial ones, are probably not going to be worth it. But as you upgrade them, I think it'll become clear. Like if you incorporate them with a build properly, like if you just kind of slap them on, I feel like shields will be more valuable. But if you have like a high health build to go with a high health relic, then I say that is worth over a shield. And there's also nerfs to shields coming sometime in the future, and there's also the tone of a dying to contend with. I think it'll be a nice balance, but it also just does depend on your playstyle. This next question is from Dictator Shadow, who is kind of like the Drehmal YouTuber. It's been very good to this community, helped a lot of people with his playthrough series, all that. So his question is, when are you going to make Drehmal merch and marketable plushies?
So we plan on actually doing our first merch drop shortly after full release of 2.2, and we're really, really, really excited for this. So alongside this Q&A, we've also launched our website, drehmal.net, which has a dedicated merch page, and we've been working on some really, really cool stuff for merch. But you'll just have to wait and see. Plushies aren't a part of that initial merch drop, but I would love to design and release some plushies at some point in the future. I want to hug a little Drehmal snake plushie. I want that so badly.
I would love a Drehmal snake plushie. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What a good friend. Yeah. Definitely check out the website
Yeah,
when
please.
you're done watching this video. Bald's been working really hard on it.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy with how it's turned out. I think it looks very professional and nice. And this is also a place where future blog posts, like the Relic one, will be posted simultaneously. It might just be where we link for the blog posts from here on out, rather than just posting the PDFs.
I think that's way better than just posting the PDF, because
Yeah.
like, there you go, to go read the blog post, and
Yeah.
instead of having a clunky PDF.
Yeah. All right.
So.
Yeah. Next question from Paralyzer230. Will there be more silly/reference-based items like the comedically large spoon or the great sword of Artoris?
Of course. This is I love stupid references. They're my favorite.
It's the best thing. It's always been my favorite thing, especially in Minecraft maps. Thinking back to like the old, the super hostile maps with like the battle signs and just those silly items and weapons that just became staples in Minecraft maps. That's something I love about Drehmal that I just want to keep and just keep that spirit alive.
Yeah.
We're definitely keeping it. One thing I will say is some of the more especially silly things are going to be a little bit more hidden, put into different corners of the map, just to like sort of make the main quest line like have the seriousness that we are looking for it, because we view this as a serious game. So ultimately it is, but we of course are going to still have all sorts of goofiness for you guys to find.
But I'd like to add that like there are serious tones, but I think the overall writing is like pretty upbeat and good. It will get serious at times, but it is ultimately a Minecraft map, right? But yes, I mean, more serious tone, in a lot of places. Though I would say like if you read like all the lore books in 2.1, I would say it was way more serious and moody than 2.2, but overall, at least.
Yeah.
About to see what people say. Next question is from Paralyzer230. Again, from the video of Runes and Remnants I watched a couple months back, will you feature all the contestants' runes, or will you revamp their runes?
Okay, so that's a really good question. As we promised back then, we are going to definitely add lightly edited versions of Burt General's Salaran ruins, Pogo's Castle Tharsax, and Black Sabbath's Rune of Zorhul, as we promised back then, to the map. We are going to work on making sure that the lore is all kosher with some of our new ideas. And another thing I wanted to mention too is that we will be including builds from the Towns to Cities contest as well. We are going to include some features from several of those builds. Most notably, you can look forward to an updated Fertide using many of the buildings from that contest.
Right. Okay, last question here from Paralyzing 230. What would stay the same in 2.2?
One thing's Yablix for sure. And most of the existing towns are only going to have light changes.
Yeah, I kind of consider Yablix to be my game design magnum opus. I can't really think of any ways to improvement.
Yeah.
It'll probably get some small tweaks, but yeah, it's kind of like don't fix what's not broken. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next question is from Will Bennett. What's the team's biggest goal in the next edition of Drehmal? How challenging has this been in terms of accomplishing what you want?
Yeah. So one of our biggest goals has been making the lore more consistent and easier for players to understand without having to delve super deep down the Drehmal rabbit hole. It's been a bit of a challenge, and we've had to change some major things, make some compromises. We talked about this earlier in terms of retcons and stuff, but we're really, really happy with the current state of the lore in 2.2. And yeah, for any major lore heads out there, expect some retcons you might be sad about, but overall everything is to a much higher quality because of these retcons.
Yeah, I think we have a much stronger foundation.
Yeah.
I'm way happier with where we are now than where we were in 2.1. And again, I'll have to say everything will be explained. Expect some fun new secrets and just hidden lore things. Yeah.
Definitely. The next question is from Mert Karaglu. Sorry if I mispronounced that. With all biases from 1 to 10, how epic do you think Drehmal v 2.2 Apotheosis is going to be?
9, maybe 10.
Could be 8.
I think it's a 10 for sure. It'll be a wild ride. That might just be my optimism speaking. But yeah, I'm locking it in.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be okay.
It'll be at least okay.
Next question is from Aiden. It's my name, but spelled completely differently.
Yeah.
I've played one playthrough with 2 other friends. One thing we noticed is that the map has many minor locations. For example, little ruins or little buildings or objects. There would often be treasure chests hidden in these locations. After we played a while and got geared up and explored a bit, we realized the rewards in these chests were rarely anything to get excited about. We would start ignoring ruins and other minor locations because the rewards wouldn't be anything nice anyway.
So this is once again speaking to the idea of those little mini structures that I mentioned, I believe are kind of getting solved with the devotion system specifically. But it's also important to note that runic catalysts, which we spoiled way back when, and artifacts are also expressly designed to add more worthwhile loot throughout the realm. So yeah, you can look forward to a lot more things to find generally, which I think will make exploring every structure a lot more exciting.
Yeah, and for anybody who hasn't read the blog posts about the artifact system and the runic catalyst system, those will both be available and easy to access on the website, and I'd highly recommend giving them a read through if you haven't.
Yeah, I think they'll be very integral to the game, especially runic catalysts and the venture merchants. Those will be integral to the new gameplay loop. And there's some other things we have planned to make the world more interesting and exciting.
Yeah.
And I think artifacts in general, the comedically large spoon. Can we get a picture of the comedically large spoon?
Yes,
the new
right
one,
here.
the
There
artifact.
We go.
Yeah.
Yep. On screen.
And so, before, big large spoon, you'd find it. It's just enchanted shovel with funny name. But now it feels a little more special because it's got it's got artifact on it. It also has some special stats, which I think just makes finding it feel more special.
All of
So
them are going to have lore too, which is fun, and some of it's going to be silly, but some of it might be interesting.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So like
Yeah,
for all items like that, all named items that existed in 2.0 and 2.1, all those are becoming artifacts/relics.
yeah, I think the community large spoon is a bad example when it comes to lore, but I think you get the idea.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I believe our final question to answer is from Davidi1206, and they ask, will the story be upgraded?
Yeah, so we had initially planned for a full story overhaul to come in the 2.4 update, but a lot of our plans for that update got moved up into 2.2. So, yeah, the story is being massively upgraded with this update. I can't say too much about it, but I think most people will be happy to know that 100% tower discovery is no longer required to complete the story.
Yeah, which I think is just really cool because now like places like Sod are just completely optional and hidden, and I just love that sort of stuff in games.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for the whole story overhaul, a while ago I had written up basically a whole draft of the plans of what I wanted to do, and that draft just kind of stuck in my head. I think stuck in all of our heads really,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I think a lot of things in there were super cool, and as we kind of kept going, we realized that 2.2 would have been infinitely better if we incorporated those things sooner.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think, I think the story overhaul, it'll still take like, it'll still be a lot like Jamal's previous story where it kind of takes a backseat for most of it until like the very end, right?
Yeah.
But it's a lot just better and more refined, and it's super cool.
Yeah,
I
we're
think.
very
You
much.
say that, but
Oh, go
there
ahead.
is also going to be stuff throughout, like more
Yeah.
stuff throughout. It's not all going to be backloaded. There's going to
Yeah.
be more
Oh, yeah.
exciting things to do throughout the story, for sure.
Yeah, we are very much telling the story we want to tell with Drehmal, which is honestly something that I don't think we could say with 2.0 or 2.1.
No. Well, the funny thing about that is like with 2.0 and 2.1, we had another idea for what the story was going to be, and that was what like a eventual like D&D module or eventual primordial game would have been. But with the new dev team and all the new minds on board and just all the ideas we've had, I can very confidently say that this new story we have for the Minecraft map is infinitely better than what we had planned before.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
Yeah, it's something special.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've sure set the bar awfully high for 2.2. We hope you're excited. We hope the whole thing isn't a complete flop. We're pretty sure it probably won't be.
Hopefully.
But that'll sort of conclude our little podcast here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you guys for listening. I'm really excited to get 2.2 out to you guys within the first half of this year.
I love getting to talk about all my favorite little game design things, and I really hope you just enjoyed what we talked about today.
Yep.
Once again, keep on following us. Check our website. Stay tuned on the Discord.
Follow us on Twitter.
All of that's gonna happen. And I guess just if there's one thing you should take away from that is that you've got nothing to lose.
And as for Kama's lore questions,
One, Harry steals four members of outlaws shipped by the First Guardian Empire. That situation similar to the British Empire of Australia. After the First Guardian Empire fell, those outlaws built a culture. They dated the Warring States. They liberated the Warring States from the powerful military interests of the Guardian Empire. Two, Zogan is the religious that was a major site cross-cultural relations between the Cargo and Black Jungle, and the Display. They also had huge trade between the themselves. Three, the Empire theory was called back as the political classes comprised primarily of your Virtual has never been an explicitly political or legal position. Unlike the Fine Science Display. You know this by clay comment. Sweet males and Elder Can't remember. Five, both the side and Aslan settled the Elder Valley. That's significant points in time. West Side Aslan showed up. Those time settlements are already dated in history. Six, the town of Bokokoan was founded by a group of Mokotari, survivors of the first league. Little is known about it due to its age, but some stories archaeologists argue that the oldest settlement in Drehmal. Seven, the High remains unchanged at 2.2. Nine, Asal was probably a few million BYSD. Moscow is actually more populous than Asal, with around 5 million BYSD. This is due to a few factors, the most important of which being just how old the city is. Asal was basically created from scratch, act as a power of the outside government. Does require a lot of bureaucrats. It doesn't limit itself well to natural growth. Must yield, on the other hand, as city grows the majority of its history. 10. Costain is currently populated. Muslims not. That is incident with all cultists. Oops. 11. North Carolina doesn't really have it. You can try to look for yourself. 12. 22.2. 13. He controlled the answers. 14. The British still holds nominal control of the Virgin Islands, which has been absent for a while. That's why the While she's been sick, it's required to take notice. 15. It just sounds cooler. 16. The central plains are spread through zone. Some locals do more about these. 17. The central location works with hand and fast on, so most of the measures work taxonomic house. 18. Nothing on skyscrapers. Most of these no need for them. Skyscrapers mostly up to space concerns. As some have those concerns. They certainly could build them, but the tallest buildings probably only reach 5 to 6 stories. 19. The closest thing aerial had to capital was the virtual medium around 5G because the aerial force managed internal relations, and still used for still massive logistical center. Despite that, the traffic area will mostly decentralized. Even anomaly united base taxon. There are regional methods, and maybe some of the heavy science accent will probably be able to understand some speaking with heavy science accent. However, some side, some side, maybe it's a reasonably rare occurrence, so it doesn't matter much. Anyway, well, this is the map representation of the quote-unquote real world. German common even in 84 sounds like English. Everything is rendered in English with their I mean, the difference between results you comment. The common was built after the Reformation. Post 80. 22. The hard was pretty big blockage for English until last one tried to canal for it. Other than that, it's just a piece of terrain people don't even make. 23. This is the goal. Basically, every single major problems of the kind. I'm not sure I would really want any of them to suddenly classified by power. That being said, the most likely culture is the sea. So, population, fertile land, and a very grassy UK. 24. Probably pretty flat. They're pretty funny, but technically terribly simple. 25. The Sylvan Islands was historically occupied by very religious tribes, although they hold no civil allegiance to the rest of the tribes.